It's a little bit early here. It's about 5:30 a.m., but it's a good time for us to talk about how you need to stop avoiding pain and difficult emotions and instead start approaching them. I know throughout my life, I've been, unfortunately, a big advocate of avoiding. I do it all the time. I even sometimes get into it, even recently. But we gotta start approaching our pain and difficult emotions to overcome neuroplastic pain. So let's get into it. So many people with neuroplastic pain or mind-body syndrome tend to avoid feeling the pain sensations and avoid difficult emotions. So let's first talk about avoiding pain sensations. Anyone who's had chronic pain has a level of avoidance around it. And this makes sense because pain's scary. Scary is maybe a small word for it. It's terrifying. And so we want to do everything we can to avoid being in pain. And especially when we're going the medical route at first, before coming to this mind-body approach, what we do in life is just avoid. I remember for myself, I changed my diet as a way because I thought, changing the foods I would eat would reduce the pain I was in. I stopped exercising. I stopped moving my body by the end of my journey almost completely. I wasn't walking. I wouldn't sit on couches. And so you can see the level of avoidance that happens. And we do this also with this fixing, figuring out attitude. A lot of times we're in our head trying to figure out how can we get out of pain. We're trying to fix it. We're going from one physiotherapist to a chiropractor and, just medical appointment after medical appointment because we want to avoid being in pain. And truly, I get it. Pain sucks. There's no pretty way to say that. It's not a great time, and we avoid it a lot. But the problem with avoiding using our body or avoiding the pain sensations is the message that the brain gets is that there must be something seriously wrong with our body. And so with neuroplastic pain, what starts to happen is that our body's actually fine, but because the level of avoidance that we're doing, unfortunately, the brain then feels in more danger and then it produces more pain. We end up in almost this pain avoidance cycle. And so it can keep us stuck. And actually, worse than keeping us stuck, it can escalate the pain sensations that we're feeling, which I know was true for my journey. The more I avoided, the more I shrunk my life, trying to avoid at all costs being in pain, the more pain I got. And so we're going to talk about how we can start approaching. But first I want to talk about how we can avoid difficult emotions. We resist them. And throughout my life, I've done so many things to avoid any difficult emotions. I know I've talked about it on here before, but when I was a teenager, I became heavily addicted to drugs and alcohol. Now I'm sober now and have been for many, many years. But addiction or drinking or using drugs excessively is just an avoidance behavior. We're avoiding feeling the emotions that we have. And that's what it was for me. And so even after I recovered, throughout my life, I just did everything I could to avoid. I would become excessively busy. I would focus intensely on work or intensely on school. Kind of a funny one that I would do is even now sometimes, if I'm struggling, stressors are high, I'll clean my house. And this isn't light and easy cleaning. This is intense cleaning. I need to avoid what I'm feeling. But the problem with avoiding our emotions, and we have lots of ways of doing it. The problem with it is, again, the brain gets the message that this must be really dangerous. And so it keeps the emotion stuck. And another issue with it is resisting and suppressing difficult emotions can cause real neuroplastic pain symptoms. And so the more we avoid difficult emotions or stress that we're feeling, the more the brain starts to send the danger signal of pain, the danger signal of fatigue, or other physical symptoms. Because the more it resists these difficult emotions, the more the brain feels in danger. And so this is the issue with avoiding our difficult emotions as well. And so you can see, avoiding pain sensations and difficult emotions, how it can really start to escalate the suffering that we're in. And I get it. Avoiding these things, and I've done it most of my life, is what we know to do. We don't know anything else. And so I want to pose a different way of living. And it really is. It's not just a strategy on what you need to do to lower your pain or get rid of your difficult emotions. It's a different way of living your life. And the different way I want you to live your life is actually to approach things, right? So a little bit of avoidance is okay. We need that in life. But throughout our day, we need to start approaching first our pain sensations, right? And I talk about this on here a lot. Like with somatic tracking, that's what we're doing. The attitude behind it is we're approaching the sensation, we're being curious, we're having this light and easy attitude and being really interested in what it's doing. But furthermore, to recover from neuroplastic pain, we need to start approaching doing things in life that we fear is going to cause us pain. And I don't want you to start approaching things in life up until the point that the pain comes on and then you stop doing it. Because I see that cycle happen too with people. What actually we need to do is we need to start approaching things in life and welcome the pain to come on a bit, just to a mild to moderate level, and then feel safe with those pain sensations. Because with neuroplastic pain, we know it's a miscommunication. We know the pain is just occurring in the brain due to learned neural pathways and our emotional state, and our body's safe. And so we need to start approaching using our body, doing things in life that scare us, that is going to cause us pain. And then when the pain comes on, we change our response to it, just like I've been talking about. And the beautiful part about this is the more we can actually approach the pain sensations and doing things in life, the more the brain actually starts to get the message that we're safe, that the body's not damaged. And then over time, the pain will start to dissipate. So think about this in your journey to unlearn pain. Because when we're unlearning our pain, one of the barriers I see is people will start to use these strategies and stuff, but they're not actually having this attitude of approaching things in life and feeling empowered that they can handle the pain sensations, they can work towards feeling safe with them, while approaching them and approaching doing things in life that they used to be really fearful of doing. And for myself, this was a big thing. I remember the first thing I tackled, one of the first things I tackled was sitting on couches. I was terrified. I barely sat on a couch for 2 years. You want to talk about avoidance? It was so incredibly scary for me. But I slowly started to sit on couches again. I tried to make it playful. I'd watch funny, lighthearted movies, sometimes romantic comedies, and I would approach. And I knew the pain was going to come on, but I welcomed it. And it was this really empowering, freeing moment. And empowerment is really important here, because when we can actually feel empowered to be with the pain sensations, to approach them, to approach our life, the brain just feels safer and safer, and that danger signal of pain stops being sent over time. So that's how I want you to approach, your pain sensations. Now let's talk about approaching difficult emotions. And this is tricky, right? This is also really scary. It's terrifying to start approaching, terror or despair or rage or anger, especially when we viewed these things as dangerous. Now, I've done a video in the past on why emotions are actually safe and not dangerous. And so I'll link that here. But emotions are safe. We're meant to feel them as human beings. You're meant to feel this full spectrum of emotions, but we limit it. And when we limit the emotions we try to feel, this is when the brain starts to send other signals, other danger signals, such as pain, fatigue, anxiety, because we're not allowing ourselves to be full emotional beings like we're meant to be. And the other thing about difficult emotions that even I forget sometimes is they're temporary. They're not going to last forever. And so we're safe to approach them and be with them as well. And so start to connect with the emotions, even just the mild ones at first, right? Mild stressors that you feel throughout the day. Really allow yourself just for moments to feel it in your body, to sit with it. And so there's lots of different ways we can approach our emotions. Lots of people do journaling, and that can be a really effective technique of expressing, becoming aware of and expressing our difficult emotions. Or, it's the somatic tracking for emotions and feeling emotions in our body, sitting with them, feeling safe with them. Because the more safe we can feel with our emotions, the more willing we're going to be to actually approach them and to face them. And this can also be empowering, right? It can be empowering the fact that we're allowing ourselves to just feel what we're feeling. We don't have to avoid it anymore. And even with my cleaning, it's a great example of one of the ways that I just frantically avoid feeling something. If I actually gave myself probably 10, 15 minutes to feel the stress that I'm feeling, maybe to feel the sadness that I'm feeling, then the emotion will actually play out. Emotions come as a wave, right? If we actually allow ourselves the space to feel them, they will go up, they will have a peak, and they will go down. But we need to allow that wave of emotion to play out. And sometimes the waves can be longer, sometimes they can be more sharp, but we need to learn to allow ourselves the space to feel the emotion in our body, explore it, breathe with it, and soothe it. And so I hope this video was helpful. This is a huge concept that I think can help a lot of people move forward in their recovery from neuroplastic pain or symptoms. And so really think about it not just as a strategy, but how you need to start responding to yourself, responding to the pain sensations, responding to the difficult emotions. And it's a different way of living. It's a different way of moving about in the world. And I think it can help so many people. I know it's helped me so much, not just in recovering from neuroplastic pain, but actually really connecting to myself and having a meaningful relationship with myself and living a full life. Because if you're limiting your emotions, it's hard to have a full life. A full life is going to be filled with moments of joy and happiness and serenity, but it's also going to be filled with terror, with rage, with despair. And we need to allow ourselves the space to have all of these. So please put your questions or comments down below, hit the like button, and subscribe to my channel, as I'm going to continue to release videos every week talking about neuroplastic pain and mind-body syndrome. Take care.